like this edition of Worldwide couldn't get any bigger. We've got a Cruiserweight title defense right now. Chavo Guerrero Jr. is the Cruiserweight champion. We saw his change of attitude when he left the Misfits in action straight to the top of the Cruiserweight ranks. At Starrcade, Shannon Moore and Sugar Shane Helms of 3 Count both won the #1 contenders match. We had the battle of 3 Count. Sugar Shane Helms won that. He gets a shot Sunday night. But, Mike, in the interim, Chavo Guerrero Jr. has not lacked for contenders, including today.
And, Scott, I don't think it's any coincidence that ever since Chavo Guerrero Jr. cut all ties, had his difference in philosophy with the Misfits in action, that he has gained championship gold. I think many people today feel that strength in numbers is the way to attack in World Championship Wrestling. Chavo Jr. has done a complete 180, going on his own, and you cannot doubt that he's been very successful to date.
The Cruiserweight champion, Chavo Guerrero Jr., puts it on the line against Evan Karagias. This is exclusive Worldwide action. And the challenger makes his way to the ring. What an opportunity, Mike, for young Evan Karagias.
A golden opportunity for Evan Karagias to garner championship gold. He's no stranger to the championship belt, especially the one that he's challenging for tonight, the WCW World's Cruiserweight title. He's been there before. Can he get back to the top of the mountain against Chavo Guerrero Jr.?
It was about 1 year ago, a little more actually, that Evan Karagias was the king of the Cruiserweights in World Championship Wrestling. Concentrating on tag team action since that time, but now with a shot at this man, the champion, the standard bearer for the under 225 crowd, Chavo Guerrero Jr.
And when you talked about Evan Karagias concentrating on tag team wrestling, I think that's where Chavo Guerrero Jr. has the advantage in this matchup, as well as the title defense if he's successful here on Worldwide this week, that's set up for him Sunday at the Big Sin pay-per-view event. There's that new attitude of Chavo Jr.
Absolutely, and 2 new handprints in the chest of Evan Karagias would watch Evan from behind with a right hand, and we're off. Cruiserweight title at stake here on a Sin weekend. Off the ropes with a back body drop.
Look at the offense by Evan Karagias even before the opening bell, but he walked right into the high boot from Chavo Jr.
Oh! Wow! Chavo Jr. over the top.
Wow, he just bulled him down to the mat. I thought he was going to go for a sleeper hold. He just grabbed him around the neck and drove him down to the canvas. He just neutralizing him. Back elbows. Finally, the third one broke the move. Oh. Drop kick was on the button.
Oh, that was stiff. Right in the chest and the jaw. Chavo Guerrero Jr., this is a new attitude. This is not the Lieutenant Loco of the Lunchboxes and Shoehorn Brigade. This is a guy who wants to keep a hard-won title.
And that's the key to his success. No longer aligned with the Misfits in action. The double leg takedown by Evan Karagias, and he starts raining in the right hands, and look at Chavo Jr.
The rolling mount from Chavo and Evan, they are laying them in high and tight, these two. This isn't your typical Cruiserweight fare. Not a lot of high flying.
Yeah, far from a Cruiserweight matchup that we expected. We thought there was going to be plenty of activity off the top rope. High-risk moves, high-risk offense, but there's really been none of that. Oh, but it's been intense.
Count your teeth, Evan Karagias. Chavo, a little free dentist work for the former member of 3 Count. Knife-edge chops in the chest. On a Sin weekend, Chavo looks ready.
Laying in those chops. You see the fingerprints on the chest of Karagias, and Chavo Jr. sends him in back first into the turnbuckles.
Watch Chavo out of the corner. Suplex attempt blocked by Evan. Evan, no. Chavo plants him on the middle turnbuckle. Oh, Evan, hung out to dry. That'll take your breath away.
Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide for Evan Karagias. Trapped in the corner, the recipient of that drop kick from Chavo Jr. Now, the other thing that's really impressed me about this young man, no longer just reliant on one move like that tornado DDT. We've seen him add in recent weeks the frog splash as well as the brain buster to his artillery, to his repertoire of finishing moves. It's made him even more dangerous.
But you saw him waste time, playing to the crowd, letting Evan Karagias get whatever second win he has left. Chavo may have had this one in the bag, but he went over to the corner, playing to the crowd, the beauty shot, if you will, letting Evan get back a little bit of second win. Evan's still got some fight in it.
Yeah, but I think it's Chavo Jr. just showing the confidence level that he has attained since cutting the cord, since cutting all ties with the Misfits in action, going out on his own, being successful, and now trying to retain that championship belt.
But don't forget also, Evan Karagias has Jamie Noble who at any time could come out and equalize or rather neutralize Chavo Guerrero. Chavo is his own man. No one's watching his back. Baseball slide through the wicket up top. Oh, spine buster from Evan Karagias. Quick lateral press, hooks an air leg 2 count on the Cruiserweight champion.
Well, there still was some fire left in Evan Karagias. He just planted the champion with the spine buster, went for the pin. Here's a roll up by Chavo.
Float out by Evan. Oh, the right hand from Chavo Jr.
The look on the face of Chavo Jr. really tells the whole story. The intensity that he has in this matchup against Evan Karagias, connecting with the back suplex.
Across, lateral press. Chavo Guerrero, a 2 count on Evan Karagias. Earlier on, we saw Ric Flair and Rowdy Roddy Piper in the pick of the week. This is not Ric Flair and Rowdy Roddy Piper.
No, but when you talk about an intensity level, much as we saw in that matchup with Piper and Flair, these two youngsters are really taking it to each other, and of course the Cruiserweight gold is at stake.
Well, this is more like Flair and Piper, an exchange of right hands, just tattooing the opponent. I am really amazed that both men could adjust their style away from the high-flying Cruiserweight type we've seen before. They're just fighting. They're just brawling all over the place.
Evan Karagias able to get the boots up at the last minute. Here's a high-risk move, cross-body block, and he hit it perfectly.
Hooks the far leg, and no, Chavo Guerrero that close to losing the Cruiserweight title. That title is at stake in this matchup. If Evan Karagias should somehow win the Cruiserweight title, and he may after that power slam.
Here we go.
Lateral press, no. Chavo rolled a shoulder, did not kick out. Chavo has been slowed. Evan Karagias would take over the bookings, I assume, and Sunday night, Evan would defend against Sugar Shane Helms, or would Chavo demand a rematch?
Oh, face jam, that time out of a reversal. Great counter by Evan Karagias, but instead of going for the pin, instead of going for the championship, he's driving the Cadillac.
It's like he's trying out for the Chippendale Dancer. Lateral press, no, and a 2 count. That was Evan Karagias walking away from the Cruiserweight title. Lapsing time.
Yeah, lapse in concentration certainly hurt him. Let's see if Chavo Jr. can now take advantage and keep the belt.
Float out, escape, go behind by Evan Karagias. Reversal by Chavo. Sets up Evan. This may be the brain buster. Got it! Evan Karagias. Is he still conscious? I don't know, but he is counted out. Chavo Guerrero Jr. wins it.
One of the new moves that he's added to that offensive display, the Brainbuster, keeps the title with Chavo Jr. And you know who's next up.
Absolutely, it's Sugar Shane Helms Sunday night at Sin. Keep your eye out on this athlete. Chavo Guerrero Jr. loves having the gold. He's going to hang on to it for all he's worth.
Tough test Sunday at Sin, though, for Chavo Jr. against Sugar Shane.